start with the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay. Our first item on the agenda, I'd like to get a motion to approve the approval of the amended agenda supplied, as well as I'd like to flip-flop number 3, which is the facilities by performance services. That's an assessment little program here, and then also the recognition number 4. So I'd like to flop 3 and 4, as well as approve the amended agenda.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. We do have patron comments here, number 2, so we'll go ahead and get into that. I do have one person in attendance, Tim Connor. You're welcome to come to the podium and speak about your topic. Please state your name and address.
My name's Tim Connor. I live at 5634 West State Road 18, Delphi, Indiana. And I'm the president of the Delphi Classroom Teachers Association. And I'm here to speak tonight about the principal position. It says, Dear DCSC Board of Trustees, I'm here tonight to share with you our concerns regarding the removal of the assistant principal position at the Delphi Community Elementary School. During our February 2nd corporation discussion meeting with Dr. Moore, we were told 2 positions were being added to the elementary school because 1 counselor and 500 students is not recommended. DCS is getting an additional counselor behavior specialist, and we welcome that position. We were also told that we would be adding the position of a Title I teacher. Again, we welcome that position. Those positions will benefit our students and staff. However, we were not informed of the loss of the assistant principal at DCES. This would have been a great opportunity for the superintendent to explain the benefits of this decision. On February 27th, a brief meeting was called for all the elementary staff at DCES. Dr. Moore read the 2 new job descriptions and then announced a reassignment of the assistant principal. The meeting ended shortly thereafter. This would have been another wonderful opportunity to discuss the benefits of losing the assistant principal position at DCES with the staff. The superintendent offered to answer staff questions individually. The DCTA met with the superintendent for our March corporation discussion meeting, and the administration's staffing change was never discussed. The staff has had time to reflect on their concerns about the removal of the assistant principal position, so this is why we are here tonight. Many of our staff members have been through the loss of an assistant principal before, and it did not go well. The position was eventually reinstated. We are anxious to hear about the benefits of losing this position. We want to hear how it will help our students and teachers. The following is our list of concerns. 1, how will this benefit our students? 2, will either the Title I teacher or student behavior specialist be considered administrative? How will the evaluation process be handled at DCES? We want to be evaluated by an administrator that knows our students and our classrooms and not an administrator from another building, which has happened in the past. How will the student behavior specialist split duties with other buildings in the corporation? Will this individual be involved in handling discipline situations? If this doesn't work, when will you reevaluate the need to reinstate an assistant principal position at DCES? When the building principal is called away to a meeting, who will be in charge of the building? Hopefully tonight's meeting will answer these questions and explain why the loss of a building administrator is beneficial to our students and staff. Respectfully yours, Timothy L. Connor, President, Delphi Classroom Teachers Association.
All right, thank you. Okay, I don't have anybody else written down to speak in attendance. So at this point, we will move forward. Number 3 on the agenda is now the recognition for the DCHS. Mr. Long, please go forward.
Welcome, everyone. We're gonna start out with our students. So if I can have our student services partner come up, we'll get going on that. I'd like to introduce Ms. Jessica Baines and Dana Kirkwood. They're our counselors at the high school. We're gonna introduce some kiddos here. Whatever you guys want.
Youngest, oldest. They never get first.
So it's a pleasure to introduce Lillian Beach, a freshman, for her outstanding contributions to our school and community. Lillian is a true Renaissance student, balancing a deep involvement in our band and art programs with a high level of academic excellence. Her creativity and discipline are evident in everything she touches, but her leadership extends well beyond the classroom. Recently, Lillian was invited to participate in the AIM Youth Legislative Day alongside the mayor and the superintendent. Which is a prestigious opportunity that speaks to her character and interest in civic leadership. What truly sets Lillian apart, however, is her relentless passion for improvement. She's a student who's never satisfied with just enough and constantly pushes herself to reach the next level. Lillian, thank you for representing our school with such distinction, and we look forward to great things that you will achieve.
Okay, this student knows that I have dyslexia, and I'm probably going to fumble her name. She will correct me when she gets up here. Evangeline, right? Kennard is an exceptional, hardworking, and diligent student who consistently strives for excellence in everything she does. She joined us in 9th grade. She has shown that she can master academics with an A average over her high school career. She is intellectually curious, confidently asks thoughtful and clarifying questions to ensure her understanding of concepts, and produces high-quality work. Far beyond her academic strengths, she has also a remarkable ability to make those around her feel comfortable, valued, and accepted, contributing to a positive and supportive environment wherever she goes, which is equally as important as academics.
Okay, so Haylin Nowak, she is a junior. It's a privilege to recognize Haylin for extraordinary leadership and ownership she's shown this year. Haylin has truly stepped up, going above and beyond in every aspect of her coursework. Most notably, she's taken a full command of the school yearbook. For Haylin, this isn't just an elective or an assignment. She treats it as a vital responsibility to our entire school community. Her sharp attention to detail, her creativity and design, and unwavering commitment to meeting deadlines are evidence of her professional level work ethic. What has been most rewarding for our teachers is to witness Haylin stepping outside of her comfort zone. Her increased interaction in classroom and her pride in ensuring every page is completed with excellence set a wonderful example for her peers. So Haylin, or if anyone who sees her tomorrow, thank you for capturing your school's history with such dedication and leadership that you've shown. Congratulations.
So Maddie Anderson is a hardworking, dependable student who consistently demonstrates a strong commitment to her responsibilities. She's shown this by being in the top 10 range and an A+ average. Equally important, she is always willing to lend a helping hand and can be counted on when others need support. Maddie has a positive personality and a genuine desire to succeed, which is evident in both her work ethic and the way she carries herself. She is the type of student who quietly excels, respected by her peers, humble and kind, never seeks recognition, and becomes involved in high school drama, which might surprise you, there's a little in high school. She is never there. Maddie leads by example through her character, consistency, and integrity, truly embodying the role of a silent giant inside her classrooms. This is why she is being supported.
All right, now for our staff members. Mr. Ben Gleason, come on up. This year, Mr. Gleason masterfully navigated the transition to the state's new IEP system. We can agree upon that, right? Yeah. And complex policy changes, ensuring our staff and students remain on track. Beyond the paperwork, he is a gifted communicator who has built profound trust with parents and strong rapport with the students. What truly defines Mr. Gleason, however, is all in spirit. As you can see, he just came straight from baseball. Whether he is leading his department or volunteering his time at athletic events, pep sessions, he consistently goes above and beyond his role as a teacher. Mr. Gleason, thank you for your dedication to the school culture and your unwavering commitment to our students. Congratulations. Mr. Chuck Snow. Mr. Snow is in his first year, and the results speak for themselves. In only 1 year, the welding program has seen substantial growth. Mr. Snow hasn't just stayed within the classroom walls, he has been proactive in reaching out to industry resources and searching and securing partnerships necessary to strengthen our welding pathway for the future. His dedication to getting students involved and hands-on is preparing them for real-world success. Mr. Snow, thank you for a phenomenal first year and for your commitment to our students' careers. Congratulations. Johnson. Math can be a daunting subject for many, but probably a lot of us in here, right? But Ms. Johnson has a unique gift for breaking down barriers. She brings a sense of humor and genuine excitement to every lesson, turning the classroom into a place where students actually look forward to being. Most importantly, Ms. Johnson's impact goes far beyond equations and variables. She truly cares about her students as individuals, supporting their personal growth and well-being just as much as their academic success. Ms. Johnson, thank you for making math approachable and for showing our students what it means to be truly seen and supported. Congratulations. Ms. Jody Denison. Ms. Denison doesn't just teach science, she brings it to life. Her passion is evident in the exciting hands-on labs she creates, most notably the pig dissection lab, that has become a hallmark of her classroom, from the smells and the kids talking. She holds high expectations for students, pushing them to think critically and excel beyond what they thought possible. But her impact doesn't stop at the lab bench. Ms. Denison is always eager to do more than just teach, consistently stepping up to support the school community in any way she can. Ms. Denison, thank you for sparking curiosity in our students and for the tireless commitment and excellence. Congratulations. Jennifer Doyle. Ms. Doyle consistently goes above and beyond, ensuring that no student is left behind in a subject that many find challenging, which is math again. She possesses a remarkable grasp of each student's unique capabilities, allowing her to tailor her approach and push them to reach their true potential. With Ms. Doyle's good enough is never the standard. She maintains high expectations for achievement, fostering an environment where students don't just learn math, they master it. Ms. Doyle, thank you for your dedication and excellence for believing in our students' ability to succeed. Congratulations.
At this time, can we have our students come up and we're gonna take a picture? I don't mind being hidden.
1, 2, 3, smile. 1, 2, 3. One more, smile. There we go.
Congratulations. And at this time, then we can have the staff come up. There you go.
Smile.
you squat down. No, thank you.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, smile. One more, smile. There we go. Thank you.
How's the burden?
Right by you.
Probably a little bit better than anything, so. Let's go ask me a question.
Thank you guys for coming.
Okay, congratulations to everyone being recognized. We do have a lot of a meeting left. You're welcome to stay. I will give you that chance to exit though if you have other things to do tonight. So now's your chance to skedaddle. All right. Okay, moving forward to what is now number 4, I would like to invite Performance Services forward for a facility assessment.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, board members. The Performance Services team, we're excited to be here tonight, to really kind of share with you a lot of our findings and recommendations from this district-wide facility assessment that we completed over the last several months. And really, I'd say over the next 30-ish minutes or so, you'll be hearing really from our talented team of architects and engineers behind me. We'll do introductions momentarily. They've walked every square foot of your buildings, both inside and out, to really kind of give you all a really good baseline and understanding of what your current buildings are, your current assets are, and then how to really help plan for that well into the future. So I do want to take a moment too, just to kind of say, we're very thankful and grateful for the district-wide help. So to you, Dr. Moore, to you, your administrative team, your principals, so many folks spent time sitting with our team members to help us understand any of the pain points or opportunities, as well as to Chris is here, Mr. Valenta, there he is back there, his team and all the head custodians and everybody else that helped our team. So super, super helpful. And as we go through this kind of summary tonight, I do want to make sure I point out, Dr. Moore, your team is going to receive 3 of these. So we're kind of putting the finishing touches on some of these, like there's some formatting and things like that need to be done. You'll have this both hard copy, so if board members want to take a closer look, we're summarizing this because we spent over 2 hours going through this. We didn't get through all of it previously with your administrative team. We're going to try to do that in 30 minutes here tonight. And you'll have it electronically as well, so it can also be stored on your server and referenced that way. Okay, kind of walking through our agenda for tonight. First and foremost, we'll just do a quick recap of kind of who is Performance Services, kind of our company experience, like, and our team members. Why are we qualified to have completed this assessment for your district? I want to make sure we kind of go through that, as well as kind of then sharing kind of the main purpose of this assessment. So what's the purpose? What's the goal? There was a lot of time and energy spent by all individuals. What are the results you can expect to get from that facility study? And then kind of sharing our key findings. These are the main observations that we took away walking through your buildings, talking with your staff members. And then we'll be taking, and then kind of converting that into a, called a strategic plan. So as you look at the next 10 plus years for your school district, you will have that roadmap to kind of reference of where do we go. And it'll change every single year. So we will revisit that every year with you all, because there could be a legislative change. There may be a priority that comes up. Those are all things that can be adjusted as you look at your plan. We will take a peek at some of those projects planned for this year. So you guys already have some that have been teed up. So good or bad, you'll see us back here again in April, kind of bringing all that information to you all, because those are still planned for this summer as well too. So it's time. And we'll finish with some next steps. All right, last slide, then I'll do introductions here. So really, most of you are kind of familiar with our group. We've had the opportunity, fortunate to have worked with your district now for almost a decade. So for those of you who don't know, Performance Services, we primarily serve K through 12 schools. So for more than 28 years, we've been helping districts plan develop and implement building projects to kind of support their staff and students. We've now completed more than 850 projects, valued at more than $3.7 billion. And I don't say that to gloat or anything like that. It's just, this is kind of what our company has done from inception. So we do have that experience in-house, and I'm gonna have you meet some of the individuals behind me. And it's also important to note too that every one of those projects traditionally begins with an assessment, right? We kind of, whether it's a small assessment, very focused on a particular item, or what we did here for Delphi Community Schools, which is more broad, more comprehensive, looking at every component. So we've done thousands of these studies, and happy to have put this together for you all. All right, so we're gonna go through some introductions, and then we'll kind of get into the more kind of the meat of the presentation. I'm actually, Martin, I'm gonna probably have you lead us off. So Martin's really our project development architect, kind of the leader on the architectural team. I'll have you begin and just kind of go down the line.
Yeah, thanks, Tony. My name is Martin Sams, project development architect. Been with Performance Services for a little over 5 years now. But I've been in the world of education design for about 13 years. So really happy to work with you guys and continue the relationship with Delphi.
Jordan Jones, an architect at PSI. I've been here about 5 years now. Like Martin said, I'm just excited to show our findings today and keep working with the district.
Hi, my name is Jim Walls. I'm a senior architect. I've been with PSI for 1 year, but I've been practicing architecture for 35 years.
My name is Pete Berriger. I know most of you have been involved in all your projects. Been in the HVAC industry for way over 40 years. So it's my baby, and went to Purdue, so go Boilers.
All right, thank you. And I'm Tony Kuykendall, Business Development Manager with Performance Services. I've been here 19 years. You guys have probably heard me speak way too many times. So the folks that aren't here tonight, both Matt and Keith in our estimating team, they play a large role in some of the cost estimates that we have here, not only in the assessment, but we're going to share here tonight. That's a super important part of any strategic plan. You have to have a good idea of what does that project cost, what could the value be, and then what could that value be 10 years out? So that as you all look at the opportunities and funding timelines, you kind of marry those together and decide what's truly important for your district. Okay, so our assessment, and I'm kind of doing a lot of setup just so you know how this works, because we can't just deliver 400 pages and go figure this out. But kind of the purpose of this assessment is really, we had kind of 3 primary goals. So first and foremost, it really is just determining your current facility conditions. That's kind of like a state of the union for Delphi Community School Corporation of where do we sit today? How are the buildings and things that we have within the district based upon the analysis from the experts here. Step 2 of that is understanding both current and future needs. So then it's kind of assigning the when. Once we know what you have, we kind of assign a timetable of when those components may need some level of attention, might need to be addressed. And then the third piece of that is really putting together like this actionable strategic plan. So we got to put a number to that. So then we kind of put a cost estimate to it with the timing. And as you look out over the 10-year timeline, you have an idea of, put it this way, we don't want you to be surprised. You should be in a very strong position to be proactive if and when you want to take on a project or a challenge or a need versus reactive. A few key findings. So I'm going to hit some highlights and summarize a few things, and then we're going to go through details here. Some key findings, and this is like throughout all your buildings, most of those buildings, as you're looking at just your interior finishes, right? That's like your carpet, that's your paint, that's your casework, things of that nature. You have a mix of updated, very nice. Everything's in good condition, but you have a mix of updated stuff and some stuff that's a little bit older, dated, and more worn. Very common. Traditionally, as you try to look at planning, as you do projects, you want to have a level of consistency and parity between buildings so they all kind of function and feel the same. Accessibility, security, you guys have the major updates in this regard. There's a couple items related to door hardware. You still have a few doors that still have some of those knobs, like the circular knobs. They're not really ADA compliant. So when you do the update, you go back with some updated hardware or levers. Your restrooms, we've done several restroom conversions for you. We always make sure they're ADA compliant. There's still some out there that are dated, so that update as well. More work is required on some of the building envelope. So as you walk around your buildings, if you look at the windows, if you kind of look at some of the brick and some of the mortar joints and things of that nature, they just need to either be replaced or be repaired. So those are on there kind of throughout the building. Mechanical, electrical, plumbing, he kind of commented, we've done a lot of work with your district over the years. So that is in a very strong position. There's really only like one facility we'll talk about that kind of needs some updates, and that's kind of slated to get some updates this year. And I know I'm going here, but I should have said, we will definitely have time for questions too. We're not going anywhere. I'm sure everybody wants to be here the entire night, but we're happy to answer questions or stop me if I'm going too fast. Just want to make sure we get through the important items tonight. So I'm going to start, this is beginning with the end in mind. And when our architects and engineers go through the buildings, every system, every component, they're all in here, all the sheets are in here. They score everything. Once they go through the building, they score everything. That way we can provide a comparison, building to building to building, to understand how they are functioning, where the opportunities may lie. Okay, kids, I know this is not like your math or English test scores. Please, okay, you're gonna see all these scores in the 60s and 50s below. That's okay, so no need to panic. So what I do want to point out is like a like new condition, that 80 to 100%, that's going to be a building that's like less than 3 years old. You know, the next one, the above average, that 70, 79, that's like 10 years or less. These are new facilities that really don't have a lot to do for about 20 years, usually is that timeline. Most buildings in the state of Indiana are kind of in this average to below average area, which older buildings, completing renovations as there's funding available, and kind of continuing to maintain and keep up with those. And that's what you'll see here. So I wanted to provide this information. One, it's a great summary, but two, I'm going to turn it over here to Martin. He's going to walk through with Pete, building by building, some specifics. And that's why you'll get an idea of how we kind of came up with some of those numbers. All right, I'm going to turn this over to Martin, and he's going to walk you through.
Thanks, Tony. So we're going to start here at the Delphi Community High School. And again, this is the result of all the time we spend on site walking every space with the facilities director and the building head custodians as well. So again, huge thank you to all of them for providing their input. They are the ones that live in the building every day. They know these systems, they're familiar with them. They helped us kind of point out things that are important to them or challenges that they're experiencing in each building. So kind of want to start with some of the positive observations. Sometimes these reports would highlight, obviously the nature of it. We're highlighting what the negatives are, but want to point out some things that are really going well. Beautiful performing arts space here in the high school. Kudos to the staff. The fabric seats in the performing arts are some of the best I've seen for the age. The fact that they're in as good a condition they are is really a testament to your students taking pride in their space as well as the custodial staff. The gym, great gym space, senior lounge is something very unique to Delphi, as well as the really cool water feature you have in the media center is definitely something we don't get to see often. So it was really, really fun to see. So some of the things that we observed that perhaps need some love, some updating. Example of some of the casework in the art room is just past its usable life. It's kind of probably original to the building, not really functioning as well as it could. Big one, probably one of the more urgent items that we saw at the high school are the exterior window systems. Those are hollow metal frames that, due to the salt that's put down as well as just weathering over time, the metal has started to fail and corrode. So that, time to get my dog medicine, sorry. That metal frames have started to corrode, and you're losing thermal performance through the building there. Obviously cold air is getting in the winter, hot air is getting in the summer. It's affecting your energy performance as well. Some light levels, we came in and replaced 1-for-1 light fixtures a number of years ago. We didn't add any new light fixtures as part of that project, so Some spaces still are underlit for the activities that they are. We look for more foot candles, more lighting in those spaces. Going around the building, there's a number of places where the brick masonry is damaged or failing. The mortar joints are cracked, starting to pop out. Some of the bricks are coming loose. Dumpsters at the rear of the building, ideally we'd like to see those in an enclosure just so the public can't get in and find a free dumpster to throw mattresses and things in. And then, as Tony alluded, there's still a number of restrooms in the building that aren't ADA compliant. I'll let Pete talk a little bit about the HVAC systems in the high school.
Just the advance.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you, Martin. Okay, so my job's easy, especially for the first 3 buildings, because you guys have done a great job on the learning environment, keeping everybody comfortable in the buildings. You guys have done a great job. So boilers, chiller, there's 2 chillers, and the boilers from 2011 project, we didn't do those, but they're still in good shape. Chillers have had some reliability issues. We may need to do some planning on those, but and we put the water heaters in. Those are the main features. Here's a rooftop view of your high school. So green is new, red is the older ones. So the red ones were put in 2000, a rooftop air handling unit. So that makes up the other part of the major equipment for HVAC in that building. Underneath that, in 2019, I think it was, we put 100 VAV boxes. So that's each space like this gets 1 thermostat. That's 1 zone. So we put 100 zones underneath all of those units. So prep rooms for chemistry labs, all that stuff. Everybody, all the offices get their own thermostat. That's what was done. So one thing, Google Earth isn't updated. We did your science lab to 2024. So that system's been upgraded.
Hey, Pete,
Yep.
can you jump back to that slide? Those ones that are circled in red, what about the condition?
Oh, yeah. So those units were made by Trane. I was going to get it on the next slide.
Okay, go, sorry.
That's okay. You're okay. Tony knows this stuff. All right. So what we have for each of the buildings is a equipment list. So like Tony was talking about those air handlers. So those are rooftop air handling units. They're made by Trane. They're 35. Expected life is 35 years. They were put in 2000. You got 9 years left. It was the best unit that Trane ever made. And you got those units, they'll last 35 years. ASHRAE, oops, you're right. I swiped the screen and it does work. All right, one more time. Here we go. So 35 years, put in 2000. Best units Trane ever made, they'll last 35 years. They're great units. You're lucky to have them. Newer equipment just doesn't last as long as some of that stuff. Couple things, you guys have done a great job, like I said, on the learning environment. Places like entryways with cab heaters. If you see something in red, that usually means it's a problem. So, your main 3 buildings, you'll see very little red. Those cab heaters aren't working in the entryways. They're just not doing their job. So we'll need to replace those planning. So that's it. Science lab, I'd put it in green just because we just did that one and it's kind of cool. It does a really good system. And that's what we're going to do at Delphi. What we did at the science labs, at Camden. That's what we're going to do there. All right, that's mine. Hand it off.
Thank you. So this slide, just kind of a visual summary. I'm a visual learner. So we put together this slide just to give you kind of some real high level kind of points. Again, that this book is going to be kind of your Bible for digging into the weeds and getting in deep. This is just kind of a high level of the kind of things that we thought were the most urgent or things that you should consider addressing in the near term. And then we, as Tony mentioned, we score all of these things as we're going through the buildings and come up with a composite average score. There is some weighting, and we explain all that in the binder, but like your building systems are weighted more. Doesn't matter what the lighting and carpet is like in the classroom. If it's too cold or too hot, students have a hard time learning in it. So those are the most important aspects. So the building systems carry a little bit more weight in this scoring, but just to give you kind of at a glance, kind of an average score of each building where they fall on kind of a gradient there. So we're going to move to the Delphi Community Middle School. Same thing, this space we're in right now, as an example, is an example of a really good space, good lighting, good furniture. I know the furniture in here is new. Commons cafeteria has a similar feel. Very nice, high open volumes, good utilization of the space, combining it with the cafeteria as well as a performing arts space with the stage. Really kind of fun, innovative things you're doing at the middle school with the student incentives. We really like that. We actually have in upcoming summer work some ways to highlight that a little bit more. And then just bringing the school spirit and community pride into the building facade is great as well. So some things at the middle school that we observed. Right now, there really is lacking a secure entry vestibule. We will be addressing that this summer in the work that we're doing. Right now, as visitors come in, before they ever get to your receptionist, they kind of enter the building and are able to go left or right. So we really want to move those facilities around so that visitors to the school have to check in with somebody before they get free access to the building. The exterior components, there are some areas of damage. The kind of material that's on the outside that looks like stucco, it's called EIFS. It's just not a very long-term durable material, and in a lot of places it's been damaged. There are some examples of cracked masonry around the facade. Again, non-ADA compliant restrooms. And then at some of the windows, there's some evidence that water is getting in above the lintels. So those are probably either building settlement issues or the window system itself is failing. And then at the bottle fillers, those have been added, which is great convenience for the student, but the electrical and plumbing we'd like to see covered and taken care of so that kids can't access that.
And back to that slide, we have a contractor that does stainless steel and put a removable shroud underneath there, and that would work out really well. Okay, so remember red and green. So red ones are the old one. There's one unit this is the middle school. On the one end, that's the west end. Yeah, it's the west end. Is an older unit. All the green ones are the newer units we put on in like 2021. Underneath this, there's 45 VAV boxes. So 45 zones just in the middle school. So those are all brand new. Couple of areas, there's a VAV, this is just a picture of a VAV box. Here's your water heater. It's what they call tankless. Some people put them in their homes now. They've had some struggles with those, so may need to do something with those in the near future if we can't keep reliability up. But you'll see there's no red on the middle school. It's a great building. Things are in good shape.
And just kind of that scorecard again for the middle school, a very similar score to the high school. Good mix of kind of newer finishes, areas that have been upgraded, and then some areas that still need some attention. Going to Delphi Community Elementary School, DCES. In here, very efficient classroom units for the air handling in the classrooms themselves. There has been masonry repair work done on that building, called tuck pointing is what we refer to that. So you go in and you repair that damaged mortar, you fix the damaged brick. A lot of that work has been done here at the elementary school. New carpet has been recently installed, and there's good security at the front doors. So before you can get access to the elementary school, someone has to visually see you through an A-phone system and buzz you in. Mix of cosmetic issues. We do have some rusting metal restroom partitions. Gaskets are missing or coming loose at some of the windows. Restroom finishes are a bit dated. Parking, paving, just kind of more cosmetic, and then some things that are a little bit more serious, like the lintels above some of the doors are starting to rust out. This door in particular sticks, so it's potentially a security challenge if that door isn't pulled shut all the way. Potentially could leave a door open after hours if it's not checked. So those are things that we would prioritize or suggest that you prioritize.
Sure. The big components at the elementary, you have fairly new chillers, older air handlers put in 95, these need to be upgraded. There's a humidity problem in the cafeteria that we'll solve before they get replaced. And then you have boilers from 2011. That was the best picture we had. Oops, I did that again, didn't I? So anyway, so again, we talked about red's bad, not bad, but just something to be concerned about. So there's 4 air handlers in the building that are older that probably in the next 5 years we should replace. But really good building, got those vertical units that Martin mentioned that are for each of the classrooms. Those are really nicely efficient, good hardy units. They'll be around here for a long, long time. Okay.
We don't have individual controls in the rooms at the elementary, is that right?
No, you do have individual.
Oh, do we?
Yep, Chris he can change temperatures, anything he wants to do on those. You
Okay,
can bring in as much fresh air you want, temperatures, like the fans go up and down speed wise.
Are those controlled at the district level, or do the individual teachers have control as well?
Not, the teachers don't have much control. They have a little slide on their thermostat, they can go up 1 or 2 degrees, that's it.
okay.
Be happy to talk about that later if you want.
Sure.
And again, that scorecard, just kind of a visual representation. The elementary school has a lot of newer finishes. The carpet has been replaced. Just some of those masonry items that we talked about, as well as some upgrades. Some that will be happening as part of the work this summer, as we add potentially childcare to that building. Be a new drive lane drop off to support that. That's independent of the elementary school today. The Camden Early Childhood Center, awesome historic building. For those of you, really cool for me as an architect to get to see these old buildings, especially with some of the original items still in place, like the scoreboard and the time clock. It's really fascinating and a great outdoor learning environment in the courtyard there. Really a great amenity for your students. One of the big issues at Camden is light levels. A lot of the light levels in the classroom are lower foot candles than we would like to see in a learning environment. A lot of the corridors have this textured cementitious ceiling. It's hard to get lights in that, so a lot of the corridors have sconces along the perimeter of the corridors for their lighting, and they just don't provide the same light level quality that we'd like to see in a learning environment. And then a big one at Camden is the cooling. We will be addressing that in the summer work this summer. Right now, a lot of the classrooms bringing cooling via kind of a residential style window AC unit. The problem with historic buildings, right? They're old. Some of the masonry on the outside of the gym just has over time started to allow water intrusion. So the school has a budgetary number to address that with the exterior facade. It'll involve a lot of that tuck point that I mentioned. Because unfortunately in a situation like this, it's really hard to pinpoint what crack is letting in the water. You would hate to do like 70% of it and find out the 30% you didn't touch is where the water's coming from. So it's kind of an extensive process, but necessary with the amount of masonry damage we're seeing here.
This building has more different kinds of AC units than any building I've ever been in, and it's tiny. It's amazing to me that you could have all this stuff. Other main components, water heater looks really old because it is. The boilers are getting near their life expectancy, so they're going to need a little bit of help. And remember, we talked about if there's red on your sheet for the equipment, it usually means we got to address some things. So useful life remaining -4, and -19. You know, the hardest part for Chris is that if something's wrong in the building, on the other buildings, he has his computer and he can see what's going on. He knows before the teacher shows up if something's wrong. Here, he has to wait for Brian to call or the principal. There's no electronic system at all in the building for temperature control. So there's a big need for that. And we're going to address a lot of that this coming summer.
So as I mentioned, the HVAC is weighted differently. It has the most impact. So the score on this building is a little bit lower due to those building systems needing to be addressed in the near future. I'll turn it back over to Tony.
Bring us home. Thank you. So as we kind of transition here I should say, there are a couple other buildings, transportation building, we looked at athletics, we looked at the administration building. We're gonna spare everybody the time tonight, but they're in our analysis, they're in this binder. We want to hit the main kind of instructional facilities. So we did walk through those. I thought this might be helpful to share because everything that I do when I relate to projects, I always tie back to like my home, like how do we maintain and take care of our home, and your school district is like that, but on a much larger level. So this was kind of shared by one of the kind of really trusted consultants in the school world with policy analytics. And I came across this in a presentation and I asked if I could share this and they said, yeah, absolutely. So just gives you a rule of thumb. So when you're kind of looking at this American Physical Plant Association, essentially they're saying, hey, you probably should set aside or be considering about 2% of really what your building value is on an annual basis to properly operate and maintain those facilities. So to put that in perspective, right, for your school building values, and we've done this for a lot of different districts, some much larger, some much smaller. It just shows that, hey, for your facilities, your assets, really looking at about $2.4 million a year. It doesn't mean that's every single year. And I think you all have done a really nice job of every other year, every few years, you look at doing a project and you address a chunk of those at a time. You're doing the same thing. I just want to point that out, and it's good for me. It's like, okay, well, if you had a house and it's worth, $250,000, probably in a given year, you might be putting in $4,000 or $5,000 to replace something, especially as things get older. Okay, nobody follow their chairs. This is the one slide that summarizes basically all of the efforts, cost estimates with timing. And once again, your binder is going to have it in much greater detail per system, per building. But for purposes of tonight, everything that you've heard about kind of puts, hey, we have the high school, middle school, the office building, our admin building there, all the facilities that we evaluated. If you wanted to do everything today, which you don't, and nobody has that type of ability or money to do it, you could spend almost $44 million to address every building. Once again, part of that actionable strategic plan is looking at putting these plans out there for the future. So you all as a board and as a community can discuss what truly are your priorities and when do you have an opportunity to tackle on some of these needs. So they're parsed out there between 0 to 2 years, 3 to 4, 5 to 7, 8 to 10, and then 11 plus. The challenge I'll present to you all tonight is that's based upon kind of our team, my team back here, looking at it with their lens through some conversations. You all kind of know your buildings very well, your staff very well, how you teach. We got to figure out the right plan is truly, but this is a great starting point for the district. It does include, I won't touch the screen by the way, it does include this inflationary rate. So once again, if you look out 10 years or 15 years, there's a 7% inflationary factor. And you say, that seems really high. Our estimating team, we track this every single month. So we look at like RS means, look at the Mortensen building reports. Currently it's 7. Every year it's going to change. It probably will go down, it'll come back up.
It's important to mention that inflation rate is specific to the construction industry. It's not like the inflation rate you hear about on the news. And that 7% is specific to our region. It'd be very different in Chicago or Milwaukee or Louisville. It's very specific to our climate.
So just want to point, that's all good points, but that is factored in for the future. So if you have a conversation now, if we talk 10 years later, that price tag, right, that goes up with that inflationary rate. And then I do want to transition a little bit just to highlight that there are some upcoming projects that I know we're super excited about, hoping that you all as a board and your community are excited about. These are just bullet points of them, but really looking at a lot of the different main entrances kind of on the front elevation of this building. You're also familiar with what's currently there, it's quite bulky, some of it's deteriorating, a lot of the different class structures are struggling. But looking at redoing those and updating those, really kind of with the early childhood center over at Delphi Community Elementary School, which then relates to the upgrades that Pete talked about over at Camden in regards to the HVAC, and lighting in that gym, by the way, in that historic gym. That'll be beautiful in there as well. New secure entry here at the middle school. That's going to be, we're going to walk through that here. And then while this works out really well for, kind of a nice boardroom, we're looking at a potential dedicated boardroom for you all in the community to hold events just like this. Completion timeframe, kind of June through December. So a lot going to be happening here potentially the second half of this year. So what does some of this look like? I'm going to turn to Jordan. Jordan, do you mind describing what's on the floor plan here? Because we designed it.
Yeah, no problem. So this is kind of the vestibule everybody kind of walked in today before the meeting. And so like Martin and Tony alluded to, there's really not a secure entry at the middle school. And so what we'll be doing in the upcoming 2026 project would be taking over the classroom that's right adjacent to that vestibule, and then creating that new office space will allow the actual school to be secure. So you would, if you're a guest into the building, you would come in here, you'd be buzzed in from the outside, similarly to the other buildings. You would not be able to get past these doors right here. You'd have to actually walk yourself into the office, check in, do your business, either be let into the school or make your way right back out of the school. And so that really just creates a much more secure environment for the school. And then this is just a rendering of kind of how that office space would look like. So this rendering you're standing about right here, looking at that new reception desk.
And one thing to point out there too is if people are coming in and they're just dropping off medicine for a kid or dropping off a lunch kid forgot, there's a transaction window in that vestibule. So someone doing something like that never even has to come into the building. They'll be able to just kind of drop stuff off at the vestibule.
And then these are just some images of what's being proposed on the front elevation, really this building, high school, or this is the middle school one here, kind of dramatically changing what's out there today. But you're gonna notice some consistency now, right? That's one of these goals is, as you all did, the goal is to have consistent, kind of familiar entrances. So when you come to Delphi Community School Corporation, you know where you're at. Right now, it's kind of hard to the athletic entrance because there's not really a whole lot of markers out there. So this would help solve that problem. For the high school, not quite as much canopy out there, but something still kind of keeping to that message. And then we did talk about a dedicated boardroom. So this is kind of a really good use of space, if you all know, but over on kind of the south side of the building here, that more or less is kind of a large open space. I think sometimes used for storage, sometimes used for just miscellaneous items to be held. But really, that's what's going to be renovated to then create a new dedicated boardroom and a few kind of updates to the main reception area. So as your community members come by, they're able to kind of see a very welcoming, a very nice updated central office. All right, last slide, then here. We'll take any questions you may have for us today. So kind of those next steps, it's really validating the 2026 projects, which we just walked through. So we are out for competitive bid right now. Okay, so that's the process we're in. We get bids later in March. We bring all that back to your administration, review all the contractors, review all the suppliers, and then we prepare a report that comes to the board. And then we'll come back in April to kind of get your, you'll be able to review all this, but then to kind of get your approval on which items to move forward with. Item 2 on there is just really just starting to think through and consider those future projects. That's going to be part of the strategic plan. I'm assuming we'll help with some work sessions and kind of, vision and planning and some of those things. But start thinking through what that looks like, and then just continuing to manage the strategic plan. So this is not something, it may go on the shelf right now, but it's going to come back off the shelf a couple times a year, and we will check in with you and we will update what that 10-year plan looks like, and it'll kind of be rolling. So expect to hear from us on that. All right. That wraps up our formal presentation. I really appreciate the time. That's more lengthy than we normally do, but I think this is important enough. There's a lot of information. We wanted to make sure you knew that we did spend the time on this, and that you all in your community had this information. So thank you, and we'll happy to answer any questions you have if we haven't completely overwhelmed you.
Kennedy's dying back.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. Actually, I did have a question, but I was just gonna ask after the meeting. What does ADA accessible mean?
I literally wrote that down halfway.
What is that? I'm sorry. What does ADA accessible mean?
So ADA is the Americans with Disabilities Act.
Okay.
So it's people that have a disability or an impairment. For example, you're familiar with, if you go into a bathroom space, usually the last stall is a bit larger. It allows for people in a wheelchair to be able to turn, get off their wheelchair. There's grab bars to help them get up. So situations like the image I had where you actually have to go up a step to access the urinals, it would be very hard for somebody on crutches or with a disability to do that. Round doorknobs like this, someone that has an impairment that they can't grasp and turn would have a hard time with those doorknobs. So usually you will see more of a lever style that someone can push with an elbow or an impairment. Also at the high school, for example, one of the things that's in our report is the lift at the media center. There's a platform lift that would take someone in a wheelchair down to the media center, but it doesn't go up to the guidance level. So people in guidance have to come down now to, if someone were in a wheelchair or had some disability where they couldn't go upstairs. So there's a lot in the ADA, but it really addresses people with disabilities so that they have fair and universal access to space.
Is that something you guys were planning to fix? The lifting it all the way up to guidance?
So it's part of the recommendations, so I feel everything's gonna be considered.
Okay.
The timeline, that's
Yeah.
to be determined.
Okay, yes.
Fair question. I would say normally when you do an improvement, you're kind of required to bring it up to current code. So that also kind of usually triggers, hey, if he's like, let's do some work in this area, it's all fine and good. But we also, that's why architecture team, they got close attention to the code to bring it up to current code. Many times you're just grandfathered in as it currently sits.
Those codes change all the time, so it's important to point out there's nothing inherently wrong with this building. It met the code when it was constructed, but codes and philosophies have changed. So things like, one of the things we saw like around the Performing Arts Center, where you walk around that mezzanine, the knee wall or the kind of railing, codes have changed now. Instead of 36-inch height for safety, now it's up to 42. So those are things that just codes evolve and change. There's nothing inherently wrong with the building. It met the code when it was built. It just, now we would recommend bringing them up to those current standards.
Any other questions? All right, thank you, Tony.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I do want to take a quick second to thank Tony Kuykendall and all the members of Performance Services for being here. The huge benefit to this is we can financially plan forward by knowing where our shortfalls are. The one thing I would say, I've been on the board for 5 years. There's people like Chris that know that when we replaced what and what year that was. Pamela being here for a year doesn't know that either. So we're asking questions back and forth on what's good, what's bad. And by having an assessment, we all know and everyone knows when that shortfall happens. So thanks again for that assessment, and it is definitely a lot of information. Okay, moving forward, we're going to get into consent items. I'd like to get a motion for the approval of consent items A through L, A being the minutes for the February 9th, 2026 meeting. B, the minutes for the February 12th executive session. 5C, the monthly and payroll claims fund transfer report. 5D, the approval of monthly financial report as submitted by the treasurer, as well as a couple of recommendations. We also have a couple of fundraisers on here and also a livestock judging field trip that is out of state. So I'd like to get a motion to discuss the approval of 5 A through L as presented.
I move that we approve the consent items A through L as presented.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Okay. All in favor of 5A through L as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Okay, number 6, we have the school presentation for the DCHS. Mr. Long, he's ready.
Oh, yeah. Pull this up real quick. It should be short and sweet. Do some celebrations. First off, thank everyone for being here tonight. Next year, we've had discussions from all the way from our superintendent down to all 6th grade teachers and staff, so 6 through 12, about just revamping our bell schedule. Over my tenure here, there has been some concerns with our Wednesday schedule of it being so short with timing in each class, as well as there were some inconsistencies of some classes had 40 minutes or 45, some had 35. And so we tried to clean that up. And what we really wanted to do was to get more time in the classroom. So we've taken our homeroom period and shortened that down. 6 through 12 will all have the same homeroom now. That'll help with some convocations, some other things that we try to do 6 through 12, that'll help with that. But the biggest thing is we're actually going to be gaining on our regular day 5 more minutes in each class, which if you multiply that, I didn't do the math, but over the entirety of a year, that's a lot of class time for our teachers to have with our students. So we felt like that was important. On Wednesdays, because on the other schedule, it was only 35 minutes. That's very difficult on a teacher to get kids settled down, get them in, and then teach a lesson. So what we proposed was, and everybody came to the agreement was, we will not have homeroom on Wednesdays, which will then allow us to get that time back to 45 minutes. So what this really does throughout the entirety of the school year is keep us at a more balanced time in class. You're only losing 5 minutes on that late start day instead of losing 10 like we were previously. So just wanted to get this in front of you, know that that all the teachers were on board with this, all the staff and administration, 6 through 12. So just wanted to get that in front of you tonight, that positive change is coming for our kids and our teachers. Any questions about that? Okay. We just got done doing a career day. This is something that they did last year that was, it was a career fair that was at the airport last year in Logansport, and this year they did it at Pioneer. Well, so when at the start of this, they came and sat down with me, and I'm like, oh, this is a great idea. Let's have our whole school do something. And I got some desk stares from everybody because it was a lot of work. And I will tell you this, the crazy idea had these 2 ladies over here, as well as Amy Tonsoni, took it and blew it out of the water. Our kids had a fantastic day. Staff got a chance to build some relationships, as well as look at some different careers that maybe they weren't aware of. So I'm going to let them, because I'm not going to do the due diligence, because they really honed in on each one. So we had Amy Tonsoni that did the junior class, Dana Kirkwood did sophomores, and Jessica Baines did the freshman class. So I'll let them share a little bit of their activities. I have no idea which slide's first. Yep.
Okay, I was here in a little. So I really actually enjoyed putting all this together, and like you said, it was quite the feat, because whenever I thought about getting all these businesses organized, I thought that'll be pretty easy. Everyone in Delphi wants to be involved. And since we do have a close-knit community, but it was a lot to try to put together 16 businesses that all on the same day could coordinate together. And I was extremely impressed with how our kids did and how all our businesses cooperated. And really the feedback, and I've asked the English department if they would do their bell ringer to ask how the kids liked it. And for the most part, they really enjoyed it. And there was a lot of eye-opening businesses that they haven't even went into locally, but also a bunch of different careers that they had never been exposed to. So everything from a laborist job to the courthouse, to restaurant, to estheticians, and And then they got to visit the upper room, which a lot of students had never been there before, so we went there for lunch, so that was really nice. But overall, they went to Buttermilk Biscuit, our dispatch center, they went to the courthouse, probation, and they got to see the courtrooms. For a couple groups, we actually ran into a couple of the judges and the prosecutors, so that was exciting for them. And then getting to see Delphi Body Works, the Delphi City Building, which was the police department and the mayor's office, the public library, Dywert Insurance, EMA, emergency management, and they talked about like worst case scenarios in Carroll County that they would cover. The Opera House, Opulence Aesthetics, Parish House, Santones, and Upper Room. So I did forewarn the kids that they better wear comfortable shoes because we walked so much. I think that day I walked alone 6 miles. So it was a lot for our kids, but I didn't hear any complaints. And if they did, they didn't do it to my face. So I appreciate that. But they were put in groups purposely to branch out with students they wouldn't normally be with. And all in all, it was a really, really great experience for myself. And I had 7 other chaperones. So the biggest thing was all our community involvement. I am still blown away at all the people who I was flying by the seat of my pants there for a while, and I was planning it 4 or 5 months ahead of time. And so for some of those people, it was hard to plan that, but I was very impressed with our kids, and they really made me proud that day. So that's what they got.
So sophomores stayed in the building the first half of the day, and we had guests from outside the building come in and do what I call a round robin. And because kids get tired of listening, we did 2 speakers and then a team building event as well for each. And then they did 3 rounds. So you'll notice a lot of names in there are people that are associated with our school. But we had a counseling system. We had the owner of that organization come in and talk about being a private owner of a company. We had a female engineer, which I think is a coup for our school. We also had our ag department came in and they did sales and explained about feed, and that was very cool. Indian Trails did all the trades and talked about all the trades. And then we had a 10th grade parent come in that happens to be a DNR officer and talk about the DNR program that is also a teacher's husband. It was very nice to join us. Afterwards, they had lunch in the building and then they went out and they split up. One half went to a nursing home and the other half went to Ball Metal beverage packing. Ball Metal beverage packing did not have enough time. The kids wished we had had more time there, as did the adults. And it went very well. What we found out with White Oaks Nursing Home is we went in at quiet time. And so it was very quiet and quick. So we learned a few things as well, but they did get to see and hear some wonderful things about that organization as well. So the kids were great. They were really good with our speakers. They asked questions, and they did a great job representing us. So the juniors, so they have a career fair that they go to every year, and this is actually what kicked us off starting this process even last year when we did all the grades. But they went to the Ball and White Oaks ahead of time. They also went to the fire department because they got out of White Oaks faster than they expected. They had time to plan ahead, which we in the afternoon didn't have quite the ability. But then they went from there to have lunch as a group. And from there, they went to the career fair, and we heard wonderful things about the career fair. Even my own junior daughter said, hey, there are 2 schools I want to add to our list. So one of them relatively locally, so maybe might save me a few dollars. That would be good too. But they really did learn a lot. They learned a lot about different jobs. They also learned a lot about different universities and opportunities. So seniors got to design their own day. So they got to decide if they wanted to go to a college visit or a job shadow. And they had a 95% participation rate. We had 7 seniors come in, right? Come back because they didn't want to miss school. They love her that much. So we ran them doing errands. They ran doing errands all day. But we had 12 different colleges that were visited out of our population. And 1 even left the state. We had 47 different job locations within Carroll County, Tippecanoe, and White. And they got to design their own way of going. So a couple of people went to see schools they hadn't seen before. One of them went to figure out where she was going to live. Harrison told me that he learned and figured out exactly what he wants to do when he goes to school. So it was a good day for all involved.
Again, I want to thank Amy for doing the junior, she's not here, and we've already thanked them. And now I would like to bring up, anybody have questions about career day? Sorry. Chris?
Keep the firehouse on the schedule, that was the
Keep the
best part.
firehouse on the schedule. So, another aspect this year, which they've been here the whole time, so they're familiar faces. I asked them because they've done great. They've met with me probably once a month, if not more than that, to kind of come up with ways to bring more school spirit and kind of bring that school leadership back. So I'm gonna let them share what they've done so far this year. It's coming to a screeching halt here pretty soon. But they've done a fantastic job, and we'll let them share what they've done this year.
All right, so everything we're going to talk about has kind of is like a good reflection of all of our student body and is a good reflection of our administrators like Mr. Long, Mr. Coffey, and Mr. Dale. They've been good support systems for us to achieve everything we've talked about.
So with that, we have what we hope to be a step in the right direction for the future of our student body and just our school.
Touched it?
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so first we're gonna start off with our school spirit, and this is just a little like peek of everything that we've like gone through this year with our school spirit and the amount of participation we've had. And these are just some banners we've had made this year for our football games. Mr. Bradford made this one, and then we just had this one made in the print shop. But I felt like it really helped with like taking pictures and then also just like showing our school spirit. And then so ways we have brought our school spirit back this year. So we have made our PEP sessions a lot more interactive for everyone. So whether that's kids that want to participate or they don't want to participate, we have gotten prizes. We just like throw them out to everyone sitting down and the kids go crazy for them, especially the middle schoolers. They love the prizes. So that's a big way we've made it more interactive. And then for football season, we've had posters made for the student section. And then we've also gotten items for students to use for dress up days. So we pass those out in the student section, or we just pass them out throughout school on the Friday of the game. And then Mr. Dale helped 4 of us students at the beginning of the year get a little club together to kind of help with our school spirit. So we make videos and post them on Instagram for game days. Just kind of help promote the game days, get more people involved. And then football season, we have made like the dress up day on that Friday. So if the theme was like camo, we dress up in camo for school to get kids more excited to going to the game. And then for our Christmas Spirit Week, we offered a drawing for a gift card every day. So if you dressed up on a day, you got to put your name in a drawing and then draw to see if you can win a gift card. And we did that for 12 days. So there's 12 gift cards. Then now we're going to show like a video of our win. Right. So
So that's just a sneak peek of what we've been doing this year. And so this next thing was brought to us by Mr. Long, and we love the idea. So we're going to get into that. Is our spring pep session. So this is a way for us to make school fun before we get into finals, and it's our last little break between spring break and summer break. This is where we plan to hand out student council to our next class president or presidents and showcase all the seniors who won the senior most by crowning them with DIY crowns. And we want to make this a new tradition because I think people have been enjoying them a lot more, and it's nice to have, because we don't have a community event really in the spring, so this is something we can do as a school. All right, and our last thing that we've been helping plan since July is our senior class trip. The last time we did a class trip was about 5 years ago, but before that, it was a long time too. So it's been a while. And we wanted to bring this back as a way to have a last little get together with our class before we all graduate and go our separate ways. We plan to go to Kings Island on May 15th. This is an incentive-based field trip, so students have to have above failing grades, so anything over an F, and they can have more than 5 absences. And then our target goal is to reach at least 50 students, and the cost per student is $40.
Thank you.
Like I said, they've been outstanding all year, and I'm looking forward to the spring pep session and then them transitioning to some new leaders for next year, so we really look forward to that. Thank you.
All right, lots of good information there. Chip, do you have an athletics report? Has to be exciting to follow the couple we've had already.
I would be remiss if we didn't start off with, obviously, the gym video boards has been a huge hit. Not just as far as athletics goes. I know the senior class sponsors are excited to be able to break them out for graduation. We've been talking about different creative ways they can do that kind of stuff. So those were, I think, huge value added across the whole corporation. We'll be able to use for a lot of things. So those are very exciting. Locker rooms, we're on to punch lists as far as doing some flooring fixes and decorating and that kind of stuff. So those are 2 big projects that were in the usable phase. One completely done and one that's usable, and we're just now cleaning up little things. So those are 2 very good news. I've had some really good IHSA news. Again, one of the big things we've been doing is trying to get our voice heard down at the state level. So I was invited to go be a part of the sectional realignment committee. So that was one of 32 schools in the room. We carved up all the sectionals in one day. I was shocked we did it in one day. But it's probably the best meeting I've ever been a part of with the IHSA. It was very productive. And then on the other side, then I was also at that meeting, they asked me to be an assistant tournament director for the wrestling state finals for the boys and the girls. So those were 2 big things that I know what we're doing is being seen and being heard, and they're valuing our opinion up here. So that's good for us. Yeah, I think that's the big stuff. We just obviously closed out basketball sectional. It's always good to host. Joe LePage was back in town coaching at Western Boone, which was great to see him again. Got to see him 4 times this year. 4 times. But he said there was a huge crowd of Western Boone people that came up and went out to eat downtown, and all the things that are obviously important for hosting those. It's not just about our specific school, but it's getting exposure for the community. So I thought that was a nice little added bonus when he came and told me that. So I wanted to share that. Great.
Yeah, thanks, Chip.
Good job.
All right, our last report here, the superintendent's report. Dr. Moore.
Thank you. Well, great things are happening here at Delphi, across our schools at all levels. So first I'm going to start with our elementary and at Camden, students participating in One Books, One School, and also the London Aid Wars, which I know were a huge hit. And I'm sorry, who won? Because I don't know if I know. That was a competition, right? Not a competition?
The sister one.
And then, of course, we had at the high school career day, which was awesome. My own son participated in it as a freshman, and he shared all the amazing places he visited in Delphi. And so I know it was a wonderful experience. At our middle school recently, students were recognized through Junior National Honor Society. So it's great to recognize our student leaders. And I was excited to go into each building and present on professional learning communities. And professional learning communities is something we're going to continue to focus on. Educators working collaboratively to analyze student learning, use data to guide instruction, and ensure every student is learning. And of course, during our conversations, I emphasized our educators are the professionals, and so we're learning from each other. So continuing with other exciting things as we're working with Tyler Mose and Matchpoint, so we're strengthening our social media presence in addition to our student groups, branding, logo development, wanting to highlight the great things happening across our school district. In the coming weeks, you'll see, and if one of you want to hold up, we have a, I'd say larger than a postcard coming out to advertise our pre-K and kindergarten roundup. So that'll be coming soon to the community, as well as beginning to plan our spring community newsletter so we can continue celebrating and sharing the great things happening here. I do want to acknowledge some legislation because I know there's some families that have been concerned, and I would say educators as well, and this is something I'm going to support our staff with, and the creation of some policy and procedures that will need to happen here at Delphi, and that is the bell-to-bell cell phone law that was passed. And so that is limiting student personal wireless devices that include cell phones, smartwatches, any personal devices, laptops, or tablets. And so that is something from the start of the school day to the end of the day. They either have to remain at home or be stored securely and inaccessible during the school day. So that is something we're going to navigate through as a school district, but all school districts will be as well. In addition to that, there's been a lot going on with legislation and the Department of Education, and there has been now a new K-12 accountability model that was passed, and that will change how school performance is measured moving forward. And so this is the first time in several years that individual schools and our school district will be rated. And so this is from the state to align accountability with 5 areas: academic mastery, career and post-secondary readiness, communication and collaboration, work ethic, and civic, financial, and digital literacy. So student performance is going to be measured across multiple grade bands, beginning with early literacy in elementary school, and then we'll continue, but also look at attendance, coursework, career experiences, and credentials as they move through middle and high school. So it will include school letter grades, but the overall calculation will include many indicators. The first year of implementation, the state says, will be a baseline year, like a year 0, to help schools understand the new measures before more long-term comparisons begin. But the overall intent is to have clear, transparent information for our families, for our communities, to see how our school district is performing. Testing, lots of testing is happening, and I would say that's at all levels. I read 3 just took place. SAT, I believe, is tomorrow at the high school, and iLearn checkpoints for the middle school are Tuesday and Thursday. There's a lot of assessments. This is the time of year for spring assessments. Projects, big thank you to Performance Services for being here to share the facility assessment. Also, I think our custodians have left, but the head custodians were a huge part of that process. And really dedicating their time and attention, as well as Chris, to assist with that. So we want to address, the immediate concerns, but we also want to plan for long-term improvements across our district. So that would include, as they shared the timeline, summer projects, of course, routine maintenance, and then larger upgrades that were presented at the end of their presentation. So we're going to continue to communicate those updates with staff, but again, they're going to be bringing information to at our next board meeting to review. And also, as those projects are developing, I know staff are very eager to hear those updates as well in terms of, when classroom work is going to begin, what to do with materials, where will staff park in the summer when we have summer school happening. So accessing, spaces that have already been or have been always available to them that may now require use of a key card to get through a door, such as staff bathrooms. So there's many questions and things that as we continue to, develop plans, that information will be shared. But again, it's an exciting time because we are planning for what I feel is Delphi Community School Corporation is birth, through 12th grade. And I think that's pretty exciting. And then we do have later this week, we have admin attending the Purdue Job Fair. We will have some open positions that we need to fill, and this is a great opportunity to connect with our local university. And so we're excited about that. And then this wasn't part of my report, but with the information that was shared with the comment tonight, of course, I see you, elementary staff, I hear you. Thank you for bringing, your concerns forward. I know we don't have to respond to public comment, but, I, of course, want to communicate with you, and I appreciate you communicating this to me. I'm just sorry that this is the first I've heard from anyone from the staff outside of when I presented the information to the staff as a whole group. So when it was opened up for questions, we had a few questions. I answered them. It is true, I stuck around to answer any more questions. And from there, I have not heard from anyone. And so I think many of you have gotten to know me that if you email, you want to set up a meeting, you want to have a conversation, I'm absolutely here to talk with you about any questions you have about the new positions, any concerns you have regarding administration and support. So I want you to know, again, I know we don't have to acknowledge public comment, but I think that's important that you hear from me. And as Mr. Connor shared through discussion, I didn't bring anything up because I haven't heard of any concerns. But please know that during discussion, it's open to, it's a shared agenda, and concerns and questions can be asked as well. So, after this time, after this meeting, open to having meetings, conversations about your concerns. So I hear you. Thank you. And that's my report.
All right, thank you. Okay, several reports, lots of information, lots of new things happening. Okay, moving forward to new business, we have a couple things here. I'd like to start with new business 8A. I'd like to get a motion to discuss the surplus technology sale recommendation.
So moved.
Second, Mr. Rowe.
So when we went from 2 teacher devices down to 1 last summer, when we replaced those Chromebooks and desktops with just laptops with docking stations, we were left over with around 75 desktops that we thought, well, maybe we'll use them for something. We haven't up to this point. And so instead of just letting them sit and be recycled, we thought we would try to sell them for some money as well. And Drew has done a really nice job of making sure that we wipe them and put new images on all of them.
Any questions about that?
Would we just do a bulk sale? Is that how that works?
Yeah, I was planning on putting it on the website that Laura uses for things that she does for public sale. Yeah, I was gonna price them at $125 each, which is a little bit lower than what I've seen around $150 from other people. So I feel like at $125, we should be able to sell most of them, I hope, or at least get some of them to sell.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Buy a bus or a laptop.
Yeah.
Okay, Joe, just hang around here for a minute. Any other questions or comments on that before we vote? Okay, all in favor of accepting 8A, the surplus technology sale recommendation as presented, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Okay, next one here, 8B, I'd like to get a motion to discuss the Chromebooks recommendation for Rowing IT Solutions as presented. Second.
Okay, so following our scheduled refresh of refreshing student Chromebooks, 3rd grade, 8th grade, and then one of kindergarten, 1st or 2nd every other year, and looking at the exact numbers, we needed, also I found 15 Chromebooks for about half this price, so I could subtract that from our total number. So got it down to $275, and the best price here was from Rowing. Last summer, I kind of got myself in a little bit of a jam by waiting too long. And so this year, I decided I was going to try to get those quotes a little bit earlier, and I'm glad I did because prices are going up, and I don't think this is about the same price we got last year. Considering the amount of inflation that we've had, I think that's a win.
Any questions or comments about this? All right. All in favor of 8A, the Chromebooks recommendation for Rowing IT Solutions, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Let's see, one more here for Joe. 8C, I'd like to get a motion to discuss the PA system updates.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so our software subscription for our current Bogan Nyquist PA system we've let it expire this spring. It'll still work, but we're not receiving any updates. I knew that was coming. I'm not a big fan of the Bogan Nyquist system, so I've been looking for a replacement since last summer. It's been quite a process. I've talked with a lot of vendors, provided you with 3 different quotes from different vendors with different systems. What I'd like to do is use our existing cabling and the existing in Camden, the elementary school, and the middle school, and then replace the head-end equipment, which is like the brains of the system, how you control the bell schedule and the PA. And it's also going to simplify the controls for the front office people. Algo by far was the best price, and I think it's also going to be the best turnkey solution for us.
Any questions for Joe? Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, all in favor of 8C, the PA system upgrades as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries.
Thank you.
You're welcome, thanks. All right, 8D, I'd like to get a motion to discuss the Monique Burr Foundation Child Safety Matters Curriculum K through 5. So moved.
Second.
Dr. Moore.
This is elementary in Camden seeking approval for curriculum. This was reviewed by Mr. Hawk and myself. I know that also Christina Leslie is pursuing the grant to fund the purchase of this curriculum. This is it's the Child Safety Matters Curriculum. It's a comprehensive research-based prevention education program. It's designed for students in grades K through 5. And it educates and empowers children, school staff, and parents with information and strategies to prevent, recognize, and respond appropriate to bullying, cyberbullying, and so forth. So I'm asking for your approval of this research-based curriculum.
Any questions or comments on the curriculum? Okay, hearing none. All in favor of 8D, the Monique Burr Foundation Child Safety Matters Curriculum K through 5 as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Okay, I've got a couple here I'd kind of like to loop together. I'd like to get a motion to discuss 8E, the Indiana ESC School Food Co-op 2026 through 2027 and 2025 through 2026. As well as 8F, the NIESC Food Service Dietitian, as well as 8G, the NIESC Food Service Mentor Agreement as presented. Second. Dr. Moore.
So the first 2 items of 26, 27, 25, 26, this is through the NIESC. We have access to a service center that supports us with, bidding for items, helps with our food purchasing. So that's just renewing an agreement that we've had already in place. It does benefit to be part of a co-op. And then the next 2 items, first is the food service dietitian. The approval of this would allow that person who this is their area of expertise to support with creation of menus at all levels. That is something that truly takes an expert to balance portion sizes, ingredients, and so forth. and for a minimal cost. That's very beneficial for our school district. In addition to that, the food service mentor, with our food service director still being new to this role and needing some support for a very minimal cost as well, to offer her that support, to engage in regular site visits and offer assistance. That is what I'm asking for your approval for. And all of these agreements are through the Northern Indiana Education Service Center.
Any questions or comments on those items?
It's needed.
Okay. Hearing none. Number 8, new business. All in favor of 8F through 8E through G as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Okay, new business, letter H. I'd like to get a motion to discuss Kidder Media, the pre-K KDG roundup postcards.
Second.
So I thought it was important for you to see the product that I'm asking you to approve for purchase. So double-sided advertising our pre-KK roundup, advertising for students, anyone looking to transfer to our district, also advertising our virtual learning opportunity. And I think this is really important that this goes out. It would be to our community and beyond. And the cost of this is if we obtain a child and a half, that will pay for the cost of these. So, and I know there's not half children, so 2. So this would be for production and for mailing is what the cost is that you're looking at.
All right. Any questions about the postcards? Comments? Okay. All in favor of 8H, the approval of Kidder Media for the pre-K KDG roundup postcards, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, 8I. I'd like to get a motion to approve the 2026 classified staff hourly and salary roster for the SBOA.
So moved. Second.
Dr. Moore.
This is a requirement through State Board of Accounts, and we have listed every classified staff member hourly and salary. So we need your approval through State Board of Accounts.
Any questions or comments? Okay. All in favor of new business 8I, the 2026 classified hourly staff and salary roster for the State Board of Accounts, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. 8J, I'd like to get a motion to discuss the purchase of the Curlin Bus Sales EV25 Charger as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Dr. Moore.
And I'll invite Laura up. Laura?
Thank you so kindly.
Are you awake back there?
I'm awake.
That's good, that's good.
It's hot, like we could get some air conditioning in here.
I'm sorry, that was funny.
So about a month ago, the charger for our electric bus, our darling electric bus, quit working, called in backup to have them update it. They updated it, one of the modules in it would not update. They said it should work. It worked 2 weeks. And then they say now it is obsolete and no longer serviceable. The company that manufactured the charger is also out of business. So the new charger that I'm looking at will charge the bus about twice as fast as a 40 kilowatt charger opposed to the 25 kilowatt charger that we currently have. Has a little bit longer cord, which would be a big benefit. So we don't have to park it as close to the building as what we currently do. With this quote, it also extends the warranty to 5 years. I've looked at some other options of trying to trade in the bus, asking for any and all suggestions. I've talked to just about anybody that would listen to me at Curlin's. So yeah, I made some great friends.
All right, any questions or comments for Laura?
So what will be the charge time now with this new charger?
I don't know yet.
So it currently takes 4 to 6 hours?
Right, so I'm gonna guess
2, 3.
probably 3 hours maybe, in which we've put it on a county route, so it does get a lot more miles than when I used to drive it, my whole 6 miles a day. So we are starting finally to rack up some miles on it, but it currently has just about 25,000 miles on it. And we've had it, this is our 6th year.
How many more years do we expect to run it?
Till the charger breaks again.
Oh,
Or the batteries go bad?
Well, and I made a salary bet with the gentleman at Curlin's and he didn't want to take me up on it. So, he suggested that our battery life on the bus was well over 90%, longevity still.
Yeah.
So.
Do we have one EV bus?
We have one. Currently, it has a little bit of a charge on it, but it's been sitting for the last month because I haven't had to charge it.
I need to fix it.
$400,000 bus.
Right. I can't hardly trade it in if it doesn't have a charge either. I mean,
The battery life should be 15 years, I think was what the minimum promise was. I forget what the guarantee was, but
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I wasn't involved in that part.
yeah.
I just drove it.
Okay, thanks, Laura.
Yep.
Okay, all in favor of 8J, the purchase of the Curlin Bus Sales EV25 charger as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Okay, 8K, I'd like to get a motion to discuss the DCSC strategic plan for the 2026 through 2030 school year.
So moved.
Second, Dr. Moore.
So this is the information that I presented during our last board meeting. It's been shared with our community, it's been shared with our staff, and also shared with our students through the Superintendent Student Advisory Council. So at this time, I would like to have your approval.
Are there any further questions or comments on her presentation of the plan?
And we are approving what at that with the plan, just that we accept the recommendations to consider, or what is that exactly are we approving?
The plan is written, that's presented in the report here.
So we will adopt everything in it.
Correct.
Okay.
The motto, the mission, the vision, the
Right.
goals, and the action steps.
Was that the thing, the presentation you gave at the last meeting?
That's correct. Yep.
Anything else? Okay. All in favor of 8K, the DCSC strategic plan for the 2026 through 2030 school years, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Okay, 8L, I'd like to get a motion to discuss the CECC principal recommendation. Second, Dr. Moore.
So this is the recommendation for Sarah Carlson to serve as principal at Camden. And I feel this is truly needed through even the conversations I heard when I first arrived here of Camden needing a full-time leader. And now that we are moving more staff and students over to Camden, I feel Sarah is the right fit for this role. She's obviously done an excellent job, at our elementary school. As I shared with staff in the meeting that I brought them together at, shared how she'll still continue to be, involved at the elementary school in overseeing special education, being that point of contact, 504 coordinator, and still continuing with curriculum planning. So at this time, I'm seeking your approval for that recommendation.
Do we have any questions or comments from the board? Okay. All in favor of 8L, the principal recommendation for the CECC of Sarah Carlson, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Congratulations, Sarah.
Thank you.
Okay, 8M, I'd like to get a motion to discuss the CECC preschool tuition recommendation as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Dr. Moore.
This is the same recommendation for the preschool tuition as previously submitted, except for offering a discount to staff members as well as giving them first priority to the preschool. So that is the only change that's in bold on that recommendation.
Any questions about the tuition updates? Okay, all in favor of 8M, the CECC preschool tuition recommendation as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, rounding out number 8 here, 8N, I'd like to get a motion to discuss the job descriptions for the Student Achievement Specialist, Title I, grades 1 through 5, Student Achievement Specialist, Title I, grades 6 through 8, Student Behavior Specialist, Social Worker, Counselor, CECC, and DCES, and the Director of Child Care Center, Birth through Preschool, as presented.
So moved.
Dr. Moore.
Our elementary school has been a Title I school for many years, and this year our middle school became a Title I school. And with that being said, we do receive additional funding. It is very traditional in schools that are Title I to have a position dedicated to supporting students academically through a certified teacher. And so that is the intent of these positions for grades 1 through 5 and 6 through 8, is to provide interventions, remediation on a regular basis through a certified teacher. Previously, our current situation is that we do have our aides who are supporting, and they're spectacular and they're filling in any way that they can. But with our needs, they aren't able to provide, that support on a consistent basis. So I think this is going to be really great for both the elementary and middle school to offer those interventions and also support staff with data analysis and providing remediation as well in the classroom and any supports that they can also provide. So I'm very excited, that this is an academic position, and I think it will really support our teachers and our students. For the student behavior specialist, social worker counselor, this position is created to be proactive in nature versus reactive, which would be, the potential sending students to an office and giving consequences, coming up with those interventions behaviorally, working with teachers in the classroom to help with classroom management plans, working with individual students who maybe are struggling on a consistent basis in the classroom, supporting the teacher in the classroom, you're giving new tools, tips, and tricks, helping to create behavior plans. So really being that, I would say, partner, with our staff to help support them on a day-to-day basis. And then lastly, the director of the Child Care Center, the goal is not to have Mr. Hawk serve as the administrator overseeing the Child Care Center. Mr. Hawk is going to be overseeing students at Delphi Community Elementary School. And so this position would be dedicated to our Child Care Center and serve as the administrator of that center.
Are there any questions for Dr. Moore on all of these items?
What makes the 6th through 8th grade, like our middle school, a Title I school? What does that mean?
So it's So it's a certain percentage that helps students qualify. You have to have a certain percentage in order for school to become a title school. So that number is given to us by the federal government each year. And so they have a special formula that calculates that. And in each level, even the high school has a different expectation versus our middle and elementary school. So you have to meet that criteria.
Good question. Anything else?
On the director of the Child Care Center, I don't believe we've put a salary recommendation in. Are we waiting to see on experience of applicants, or did you have that figure and I missed it?
No, that's not listed on here, and I do think it'll depend on the person's experience, their qualifications. And I know in different childcare facilities within a school, that can depend, on their experience. So I do have the qualifications listed. Bachelor's degree in early childhood education would be our preference, or at least the minimum qualification, I would say. A master's would be great as well, but just really looking for that experience in early childhood education and leadership.
Okay, thank you.
That's based out of the elementary school, right?
That is correct. It will be housed in the elementary school.
Anything else? Okay. All in favor of 8N, the job descriptions for the student achievement specialist, grades 1 through 5, as well as grades 6 through 8. The student behavior specialist for social worker counselor for CECC and DCES, and also the director of child care center birth through preschool as presented. Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Okay, we've got through all of that business there. We have some donations and thank yous here. Dr. Moore?
Well, first we want to thank Franciscan Alliance Community Health for their donation of 30 plus CPR pocket masks. It's just great for the bus drivers to have on the go while they're driving. So thank you to them. And then also thank you to the donation that was made to Delphi Community Elementary School, clothing items, which we're always in need of for Once Upon a Child.
Awesome. Well, thank you for those. That's always exciting. We get some donations here and there, and we appreciate every bit of it. So, some future dates coming up. March 10th. This I believe today is the 9th. That is tomorrow at the Opera House, 6:30 p.m. Also March 20th through the 27th. That's spring break. Very much so, right around the corner here. Our regular board meeting for April 13th of 2026 will be here at 6:30 p.m. in the DCMS Abbey and Libby Memorial Library. Also April 25th, that is the junior senior prom. So we want to make sure we wish those kids a safe evening and good choices. Okay, any other future dates from the board that I missed? Okay. Board comments, we'll start with Mr. Smith. Almost said sports cop.
You had to look, didn't you?
He's not here though.
Yeah, that would have cost you. Gosh, going first, this is weird. Thank you to everybody for hanging in there tonight for this short meeting. This is an exciting time of the year. Really, as we head into spring, senioritis starts kicking in. There's so many activities that really just put that exclamation mark on the school year. So I do wish everybody well, teachers, faculty, staff, as they start to wrap up their years. And yeah, it's just really a great time. And spring sports. That's also a great time to wrap up some of our great sports and athletes that we have working hard. Thank you to Polly Andrews and Neil Red Elk. They've been a great addition to our staff. Going to be missed as they move on to other opportunities. Thank you to the students for the presentation. Great job. That was exciting. Good stuff going on. And Jessica and Dana for their presentation, the career fairs. It's good for us to see all those things that are going on within the school, in the community, and really for our students to have exposure to so many different things within not just our community, but in this area. Ball Corporation opening their doors to us, and they've done that before, but what a great factory to go through and see the automation that involves so many technology pieces the students have to have experience and abilities to be able to do. So anyway, I appreciated all that. The chip, video boards, locker rooms, stuff that you've been working on for 2 or 3 years with us and hanging in there. It's great to see that come to fruition. And I'm excited about the Childhood Center. I think that's going to be a real boom for our community, especially our school corporation, and how that really assists in the big picture. So lots of good things going on. Performance services, thank you for presentation. It's always good to see you guys, and looking forward to this summer. Yeah.
All right, Mr. Nipple.
Okay. I want to thank everyone for hanging in there with us on this. Performance services, Thank you, guys. Good to see you all. Tony and his mafia crew. Thought I'd throw that out there. I want to thank the students for their presentation. That looked like a lot of fun. Wish we would have had something like that back when I was in school. But anyway, I want to thank the presentation from the superintendent, Dr. Moore. I think it's going to be a big challenge next year, starting out at the elementary school with everything happening. I'm hoping everything goes well. So, Mr. Hawk?
I think we're up to it.
Okay. Ms. Carlson, good luck next year. And everyone have a good spring break. Come back and get ready to make that final push towards the end of the school year. Be safe and have fun. Oh, one more thing. April 18th, I just found out, they're having the Wizard of Oz play at Camden Community. I'm sure it'll probably be at the Camden Community Building. And my granddaughter is Dorothy, so.
There you go. All right, thank you.
She's got her red slippers already.
Ms. Mills.
Yeah, it's hard to come up with new thank yous following that, but I appreciate you all coming to present to us. I am thrilled to be able to see some of these bigger changes. I love that our HVAC systems are all set up, but I'm excited to see some of the exterior improvements. And I think we've been talking about that as long as I've been on the board. I'm thrilled about this strategic plan as well. I feel like, updating those mission, the vision, the values that we have and what we want to hold students, staff, ourselves accountable for is really exciting to see that come to life here. I'll echo Chip just because I spend a lot of time in the athletics world. So I think that is so exciting. The video boards were great. It's a great thing that we've been able to do. And I think it was exciting to see some of the work that the kids did, even on senior night, to be able to pull some of that together. So super exciting to see all that come together. Career Day, I will echo. I don't get a lot of updates on the daily activities of my high school students, but I did hear about Career Day and they loved it. Excited to go around and see some of those different opportunities. So that was exciting to hear about. Tyler and his company doing the social media has been an incredible update, I think. For myself, I think just in how we see what's happening in the school, the work that they're putting into that. I think he must be doing it 23 hours a day. I don't know that he ever stops on that, but it's really been an incredible way to be able to bring more people into what's happening here in the day-to-day. So I appreciate that, and I think it's really exciting for what we've got going on.
Great.
Now you come up with something new. Yeah.
I have nothing new. I have 2 items and I want to keep it quick. I want to jump on board with the long-term planning and, you've got a Fix-It Bible over there for us that we're going to rifle through and that's going to give us a great path to get the school where it needs to be for at least the next 10 to 20 years. So we really appreciate everything that you've done with that. And then as far as the Little Oracles Child Care Center, a big push on that is We Live and Die by ADM. And this is a way to not only give what is a need of childcare in our community, but the surrounding communities. And I hope that we can tie into that and not only keep our ADM, but grow it. So that's all I have. All right, class representatives, who wants to go first?
I can. All right, so just thank you everyone for listening to our presentation. And also another important date that he mentioned was our high school's also doing Wizard of Oz, but it's the 3rd and the 4th of April. So you can just hit back-to-back weekends to watch in every school, watching Wizard of Oz. I think probably Ready Set Go's gonna do theirs soon too, so just hit them all. So yeah, thank you.
dinner program?
Yeah, it's a dinner.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so there's dinner first and then
Dinner.
the.
Get your tickets.
Thank you to Performance Services for the presentation. It's nice to see all the updates that are gonna go on throughout the school in the next few years. I obviously won't be experiencing them, but it'll be nice to like go through the community and see what's been like improved at the school. And then Mr. Wong and all the teachers that work with him with the new schedule, thank you for that. I think it's a great opportunity for students to have more time in the classroom, especially on Wednesdays when I feel like we have no time. Like I have the classes that are the same amount of time every day, and then I have the classes that are super short. I think that's gonna be a big improvement. And then also the career day, thank you to Mrs. Kirkwood and Ms. Baines, and then also Mrs. Fonsoni for all the work they've done for that. I know that career day, I thought it was fun last year when we did it. So I think that it's a great opportunity for everyone. And also the freshmen, I think that was really cool for them to like go down and see everything they can do within Delphi. I think that's really nice. And then thank you all for having us and then listening to our presentation.
I know everyone's really sad I didn't ask as many questions this board meeting. I know that you guys are really hoping on that, but thank you for your presentation. It's really cool to see, that we are paying attention to our school and what needs improvement and not just settling on the building that we're in right now. So next school year, I'm really excited to come back and see the improvements that's been made. Thank you, ladies, for your presentation. It was really fun. I don't think people realize how much work they do put into the pep rallies. I don't think they really mention that, but it's a lot of work, and we're lucky that we have class presidents that really care about it. So thank you for that. Yeah, everyone's presentations, it was really good tonight, you guys, and even though it was long, it was still good.
All right, thank you. I just want to touch on a couple of things. First of all, huge congratulations to Sarah Carlson. She's a very quiet person, but she is ecstatic about this opportunity, and we are as well. We trust Dr. Moore to the fullest that the plan is right, the plan will work, and everybody will thrive with it. As well as with the childcare and our flyer, this is awesome. The one thing I think about is we will be able to help funnel kids that have a slight bit of education coming into that pre-K. That's good for teachers, that's good for administration. We all love grandmas and grandpas, but the holding cell at home isn't always the best learning facility. And if these kids can get into something, I think that is awesome. Speaking from finally my kids, I don't have to worry about daycare. My oldest went through 4 different facilities before he got into kindergarten. 3 of them in Lafayette and 1 here where he finally finished up. Point being is childcare is hard to find. And if we can find something, I can tell you there's probably a dozen people I can tell you right now that jump back and forth between 2 or 3 people a week to make ends meet so someone can watch their kid. So not only is this a daycare, but this is a learning facility as well. And we want people to know that. So I think as far as our staff and admin, I'm hoping this is just that great thing that helps you out with kids that are even more ready for preschool than they are when they get there. I just want to thank everybody for being here. Very long meeting, Performance Services, excellent presentation, as well as class representatives. A very big showing of the things we're doing here. So when you get these out there, hand it to your neighbor if you don't need one. Tell them scan the QR code, sign your kids up. We're trying to do big things and better things. So all I need is one more motion, and that is for adjournment. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right. Meeting adjourned.
Another good one, you guys.